Hello. I'm doing a little versus tasting, or mainly just seeing how these beers are different. Two of the most popular pale ales in the country. um, Daisy Cutter, of course, not nearly as old as Sierra Nevada. Daisy Cutter's been around for over 10 years. Um, and now it's in 12-pack cans around places. It's been one of my favorite pale ales. First time I had it was almost 10 years ago, and at the time I was like, this is the most grapefruity tasting beer I've ever had. So these are pretty close in age. This was canned like 5, 6 weeks ago, and the Sierra Nevada was canned about exactly 2 months ago. That was in February, so February is short. So they're not too far apart. I guess basically the Sierra Nevada is 3 weeks older, but they can age a little bit. Sierra Nevada is packaged in a way that makes it stay good for a while. It's bottle conditioned, of course, which Daisy Cutter isn't. But let's start with the Sierra Nevada. Haven't had it in a little while. Of course, this features Cascade hops and crystal malt. I don't know if Daisy Cutter uses either of those. And this just always has a beautiful head and carbonation. Whoa, quite carbonated. Lots of bubbles going crazy in there. But a very beautiful beer. And compare it with the Daisy Cutter. So Daisy Cutter is probably like Simcoe and Amarillo and stuff. And I looked at some clone recipes because they don't really give you any info on the ingredients at Half Acre's website. And yeah, the clones, some people said to use like aromatic malt and victory malt and maybe even Munich malt, which are all kind of, amber malts, but no crystal. And you can see that does not have that nice bottle conditioned head, but it's still a pretty good head. And very similar intensity of carbonation. I guess Sierra Nevada is a little more carbonated. And the Sierra Nevada off the bat is a little clearer, has some chunks from the bottom, tiny chunks, but a lot darker. But they both look like very good American pale ales. So let's start with the Sierra Nevada. Now the crystal malt throws in lots of biscuity, kind of almost caramely notes that I really smell right off the bat, but then you definitely get that floral and grapefruit citrus, like sweet ruby red grapefruit kind of citrus, but almost like cooked a little bit. It's not like really fresh, juicy citrus. On the tongue, it's more juicy, really fruity, kind of sweet, not very bitter. Yeah, very, very low bitterness. I don't know if this bottle is just extra carbonated, but it has like a really almost fluffy, airy mouthfeel from that intense carbonation, I think, in part. I feel like it's a little bit silkier when it's a little less carbonated. But a very fine mouthfeel for sure. Not soda-like at all. And the head's died down on this one, even though we still have lots of bubbles coming up. Yeah, very different smell. A different kind of toastiness. It's interesting how the malt can really, these malts that a lot of people kind of call caramel malts. There's no such thing exactly as a caramel malt. How they can have such different qualities. I feel like the aroma's maybe not quite as big in the Daisy Cutter. It's much more floral. They do, have a whole bunch of daisies on there. And when I really inhale, it smells more like actual fresh, juicy grapefruit, unlike the Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. Yeah. There's probably Amarillo, then there's some green myrcene stuff popping out of this that I didn't really get from the Sierra Nevada. This definitely has more hops in it, I would say. Yeah, very nice. a similar body. I guess these are almost the same alcohol content. What are they? This doesn't even say. I don't know. 5.2 and Sierra Nevada is 5.6. So Daisy Cutter is a little bit lower. The body is maybe a little smaller. Definitely drier. Not very sweet at all. And more bitter. There's a lot more spiciness. Definitely that myrcene hop spicy green resin is coming into this one quite a bit. Maybe not quite tropical fruits, maybe almost, but definitely big on grapefruit. And the malts, unlike Sierra Nevada, where it does get close to a caramely type flavor, the malts in this are kind of toasty, but it's not sweet enough to really taste caramely. It was definitely an interesting toasty bread crust flavor that lingers. Yeah, and the bottle conditioning in this definitely has a different mouthfeel. Whereas this one, it's forced carb, it's a little bit spritzy. This is very smooth and almost velvety because of the carbonation, and also there's a little more body, it's sweeter, it's higher ABV. Yeah, that's very silky. A lot of people don't really think about, how it's carbonated or it's bottle conditioned or the type of carbonation. Like some brewers can even, make a forced carb beer and make it have that smooth body like this one does. That's maybe my only gripe about this beer, but most beers, are like this one. Definitely very carbonated beers. I need to burp. Ooh, pardon me, but I'm drinking a lot of beer here, so. And they both have kind of a berry note. I guess this one's a little bit more berry because the malt and the sweetness. It almost has like a strawberry sort of thing. Yeah, I wasn't sure how close they're going to be. I mean, the biggest thing off the bat is this is darker. But I really wanted to see how they're different. And though they have a lot of the similar flavors, it's just they're presented in very different ways. I don't really have a favorite. I'm going to keep drinking them, until I die probably. I'm sure these beers will be around forever. But if you haven't had either of them, or if you haven't had them in a long time, you should return to them, especially the Sierra Nevada. Having a bottle conditioned pale ale next to another one, next to one that isn't, really tells you how it affects the mouthfeel. That's it. Bye.